Alright, so now we're going to be looking at something called list methods. Now, as you might have guessed, list methods do have a lot to do with lists themselves because they provide more ways to edit or explore lists. The two main ones we're going to be covering for this camp will be append and remove. So for append, let's go back to our colors list over here. Let's say that we want to keep adding more of the colors of the rainbow to the list, but we've already declared our list and we're fine with it being four items long over here. So what we can do is we can use the append method, which adds another value to the end of your list. So here for colors, we could do colors dot append red, orange, yellow, green, blue, right? Then let's print colors just to take a look at what happens. And now, as you guys can see here, blue has been added to the end of our list. Oh, we still have that print statement there. Let me comment that out. But now blue has been added to the list. And we can do this again with, say, purple. Then we can print colors. And now we have red, orange, yellow, green, blue, purple. Our rainbow is done. Notice that with both of these, we did colors.append and then the string over here. We could also do, like an integer or even another variable, but because we're sticking to the theme of colors, we're just going to keep it as append. Point is, data type doesn't matter, but try to keep the list relevant. Alright, so the next method we're going to be exploring is remove. And what remove does is that it removes an existing value from the list. Now, you might be like, come on, why would you put so much emphasis on existing? I mean, obviously you can only remove stuff if it exists. Now, the reason I emphasized existing is because in order to use the remove function, so let's say instead of blue, I did indigo over here, and then blue down here. Let's say I wanted to get rid of indigo. So to use the remove function, I would have to do colors.remove, and then the exact name of the element, spelled the exact way. So indigo, and then print colors. So now, as you guys can see here, this was our list at this point. And now, after we run that, the indigo is gone. So it's just red, orange, yellow, green, blue. Now, if we even had one letter go off the hook, Python is not going to be able to find our element, even if it's literally just a capitalization error, or, if there was a space here. It would not equate this string to this string. It must be the exact same. So be careful, guys. Value put into the parentheses must be the exact same as that you are trying to remove. And those are two basic list methods. Now, let's say, to go hand in hand with the remove function, you want to see all of the elements in your list. Now, what we've been doing until now is just printing colors, but over here, you guys can see that when we print the entire list, we get a bunch of formatting. So we get the commas, we get the single quotes, and we get the parentheses, the square brackets. Now, if we wanted to print something out cleaner, that's not all this weird to look at stuff, what we could do is do something called list traversion. Now, list traversion is basically where we use a loop to go through the list. Now, if you guys remember correctly, this has come up a couple times already, but for loops and lists actually both start counting from 0, just like most of the other processes in Python do. So the easy way, one of the ways we could go about this is if we did for I in range, and then len colors. And what this does is it basically creates a for loop that goes through the list through until the length of colors. Now, this function, len, we may or may not have already explored it, but what it does is it gets the length of the list, so the amount of items in this list. At this point on line 33, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 items in the list. So essentially, this is the same thing as a for I in range 5. But because we are good programmers, we want to make sure our code isn't stuck here. So if we decided not to remove indigo or we decided to add purple, we wouldn't have one extra element of the list not being printed. That would be bad. Or even worse, if we went 1 over the amount of elements there actually are, there would be an error. So we would do for I in range and colors, add a colon at the end, and then once again inside this for loop, so make sure you're well indented, we can print colors index I. Now if we run this, we are going to get all of the items in our list presented, they're printed line after line without any of this weird formatting. Now, another way we can use a list to specifically, a loop to specifically traverse a list other than this basic format is this format. I'll just call it alternative list for a loop. So for that, what we would do is we would do for color. This technically could be I, but when we use an alternative list, the variable name is usually at least a little more descriptive. So for color in colors, and then that's it. We have our colon. We print color. Color, and not colors, because if we printed colors, we would print 5 basically versions of this list. Exactly like that. So color. And now if we run this, we get this. Basically the exact same thing that we got up here, just done a little easier. Just note that if at any point you want to change one of the indexes in this list, what you would do is you would do colors index I equal to I love all the colors, for example. And if we run that, you can see here that that becomes the new list that's being printed out here. But you can't change the values of the list like this inside this loop, because you need the indexes for that. Let me add that as a note. Cannot easily change the values in the list. We don't get access to the indices here. But yeah, that is list traversion and list methods in Python.